Today I'm going to talk about grieving your life pre-mental illness. Let's roll the intro. Hey, what's up you guys? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, hello, I'm Lydia, and if you are new here, make sure you hit the subscribe button, join the growing family, turn notifications on, and while you're down there, give me a thumbs up because it really does help me out. Today I want to talk about grieving your life before mental illness. Now, as most of you know, I was diagnosed with bipolar at age 13. I've been self-harming since I was 5 or 6. I've experienced hallucinations since I was 5. And yeah, that's just a little backstory. So, what do I mean when I say grieving your life pre-mental illness? What I mean is you had a life before your mental illness started affecting you. And sometimes we grieve what we lost because we lost our lives basically to mental illness. And I know we can live healthy and happy lives with mental illness, but that's with mental illness. I'm talking about time when we didn't have mental illness, we didn't need medication, and sometimes that loss is really hard to cope with, which is why I want to talk about. So my mental illness started around the age of 5 years old. Only I didn't know it was mental illness then because my family didn't keep up with mental illness. So I had no idea what I was dealing with was not normal. I thought everyone experienced hallucinations like I did because I didn't know they were hallucinations. But we fast forward to when I was 13 and I was diagnosed with bipolar type 1 with psychotic features. And I stopped my medication and I was, well, I was okay. And I thought, oh, I can live a normal life. And it wasn't until I was about 17 that I made an attempt on my life. When I was 17, I started to really struggle with depression, and my diagnosis changed from bipolar type 1 with psychotic features to major depression. Depression? That was fine. I was put on antidepressants. I reacted horribly to the antidepressants I was put on, and well, yeah, it just occurred. Now, I don't talk about my life before mental illness very much because my adult life has been consumed with mental illness. Honestly, from the day I turned 17, I've struggled with mental illness. And I struggled with it before that, but I didn't really struggle with it. I just had a diagnosis. I wasn't on medication, I wasn't in therapy, I wasn't being reviewed by a psychiatrist every other week. I wasn't in need of the support. But as I've got older, I've needed more and more support, and it came to a head last year where I got discharged from mental health services, and I was so happy and proud of myself. And then the last couple of months have been really tough, and I've been re-referred to mental health services. And I'm actually seeing a psychiatrist on the 19th? Let's check. Let's fact check. What I'm hoping to get out of that psychiatrist appointment is a change of antidepressant and a change of antipsychotic. Will I get that? Who knows? I don't know this doctor. It's a new doctor. I've never had this doctor before, so we will see. But I sometimes miss my life before that suicide attempt. I grieve what I lost because I was living a good life, you know. I had struggled with depression, but it was never serious. It was never hospitalisation worthy. It was never bad enough to need support. And now I'm in a position where I'm on 6 meds for my mental health, I think. Trazodone, vortioxetine, clonazepam, zopiclone, lithium. And then I was on 0 because I lost a huge chunk of my life to mental illness. Like, from the ages of 18 until 26, I was in and out of hospital. I was under crisis teams, I was under mental health teams, I was under pathways, I was under early intervention psychosis, I was under so many different teams. Like the recovery support team, community mental health team, crisis team, early intervention psychosis, early intervention insomnia, CBT, DBT. You know, I was under so many different professionals and I was doing so many different things, and I was just getting so worked up by it that I was suicidal all the time. And I tried to take my life a lot. If you watched my recent video about I was legally dead, this video, you'll know that when I lived in Preston in Lancashire, in the UK, I flatlined. I got resuscitated. So I literally died because of my mental illness. And I don't want to scare people, but if you let your mental illness go untreated for a long time, it comes back to bite you. So what do we grieve? The lack of medications, the lack of therapy, lack of appointments. I think I said medication. Lack of medication. And just feeling okay. Obviously my diagnosis has progressed from just major depression. I now have schizoaffective disorder bipolar type. Because I had bipolar episodes, I went manic, I was depressed, I had hypomania. So I was diagnosed with schizoaffective disorder bipolar type, and I also have major depression. I do have other conditions as well, but I don't want to get into that right now. Getting a diagnosis saved my life. And I don't want to say that getting a diagnosis is bad or anything, because it's not. But once you have a diagnosis, it's very hard to move on from it. Like, every time I see a professional, say when I've had a seizure and my accommodation called an ambulance, very judged, because I'm like, oh, I have POTS, I have arthritis, I have asthma. They're like, is there anything else? I've got some mental health issues as well. And they're like, what are they? And I'm like, schizoaffective disorder, bipolar type, depression, anxiety, PTSD, insomnia, agoraphobia. You know, I just list all these conditions, and they're like, oh. They're like, oh, what medications do you take? I'm like, a lot. That's all we need to know. And then I start listing all the medications, and then they're like, oh. It's hard living life with mental illness. And sometimes I look back on my life before all of this, and I'm like, why did I make that attempt? That one attempt triggered so much chaos. I just think, what would my life look like if I hadn't made that attempt? And I'm not ashamed of my story or my journey or anything like that, but I do wonder what my life would have been like without mental illness. And I miss the time in my life before mental illness. But yes, let me know what you think in the comments down below, and as always, subscribe. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!